Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to a completely different video. As you guys can see, we're back on the real track in a real car rather than on the simulator. And this is our very first lap in this race car. It's called a midget. I kind of want to call it a midget, but maybe it is called like that, but it feels wrong to call it like that. But this is our very first practice. I have a teammate I'm sharing the car with, so we're not doing all the practice, qualifying and race sessions. I was here doing the second practice session, and then I will be doing the second qualifying, and then depending if I'm faster than my teammate or not, I will do race 1 and 3 or race 2 and 4. If I'm faster, then I do race 1 and 3. But yeah, this is our very first lap here in practice. As you can see, we're taking it very carefully because I don't really know much about this car. It's completely different to anything I've ever driven, really. I mean, I come obviously from karting and then moving to Formula 4 and Formula Renault. Then I moved to sim racing, and yeah, last year I did the legend car race in Magny-Cours as well. But again, that's a completely different car. It's like a hot rod, very short wheelbase, and this was yeah, if anything, probably closer to Formula cars than that. It has 240 horsepower, weighs 850 kilos, I think so. Although this weekend we were weighing more like 880 kilos, I think so. We were, or I was 30 kilos overweight. My teammate needed ballast, and I needed minus ballast. But after the last race, on the scales, me and the car together were 30 kilos overweight. So. Yeah, that's gonna slow us down a little bit, but in the end of the day, you know, I didn't expect too much from this because we only got a 20-minute practice session, which doesn't sound too bad, but the laps are 2.5 minutes, and this lap ended up being the only lap we completed because there were like 5 red flags or 6 red flags. So I did quite a few out laps, but I never got to finish another lap after this due to the red flag. So that was not an ideal practice session to get started in a new car. But to be honest, I still got the out laps done, and it was quite hot, so it's not like there was totally no grip on those out laps whatsoever. It's just for a reference time, it wasn't too nice to have a session like this. So yeah. We head now into Blanchimont. This should be flat out, but as you can see, we're lifting because obviously it's our first lap in this car. And actually, it's been nearly 10 years since I raced for the last time on Spa. I actually replaced someone in Formula Renault for 2018 for a race around here. But yeah, the year before that, 2017, was my last full season of racing in a category, and we come across the line to do 249.5. I think the fastest in the first practice session was a 242, and yeah, on the first lap we were around 7 seconds off. I think they ended up in my practice session doing 239, if I remember correctly. So this is qualifying now. Track is a little bit cooler, which should help with pace. Simply the fact that it's colder, you've got more engine power, you've got more downforce, and yeah, that just helps, as you can imagine, with pace. This is our first time lapping qualifying, and yeah, we got a little bit of a gap ahead of us. This is actually a really nice gap we have. As you can see, it's lifted into Rouge and Radion. We just about stay within track limits there. We head into Le Combe, we're getting blocked here. Yeah, it was a real mess at the start of this qualifying because people were trying to get slipstream from each other. As you can see here, I actually wanted to just get a lap in, and all of these people wanted to not leave. I was happy to go ahead, but at a car on my left, I didn't really care too much about slipstream. I just wanted to get laps in and get a better feel for the car. Unfortunately, this session, when my teammate came in, he said the front splitter is broken, so it makes the car really understeery. And that's why we have to lift so much in a Rouge as well. So We lost a lot of downforce because the front splitter was completely gone. So yeah, we had a lot of understeer in high speed, but also in medium speed. So I'm trying to create a bit of a gap here, so we can get a clean lap in perhaps. But yeah, that was not too nice. And then I had an issue with the throttle pedal as well. Now you can see the throttle is on 100 right now, but the issue is I got a little bit excited and I pressed the throttle pedal so hard that apparently it went beyond 100. And if it goes beyond 100, it goes back to 0. And that's what happened several times in this qualifying. So, and obviously every time it happened, I got more frustrated and I pressed the throttle pedal harder, making it worse. As you can see, there are a lot of understeer. The front really wants to take off pretty much through a Rouge and Radion. You can actually hear, I think the front left and the front right still had some front splitter, but the center was completely gone. You can actually hear it wobbling around and making a little bit more straight. So yeah, this was no idea. With the engine cutting out and then also the front splitter being nearly completely gone. And yeah, that was no idea. But we got a nice gap ahead of us though, and that should help us a little bit with slipstream as well. It seems like a big gap, but yeah, of course, it still helps a little bit, especially on such a long straight. Having a car like 2-3 seconds ahead gives you quite a bit of lap time. Ideally, you have a car ahead that's really fast and you're within a second, and then he pulls away in the corners, for example, and you get the slipstream down the straight. But yeah, that's quite unlikely, of course. And now you can see on the exit here, the engine is gonna cut out because I pressed the throttle pedal too hard, and then we actually got overtaken. So that was not ideal. We lost quite a lot of time there with that, and this ended up being our only qualifying lap. So yeah, that was no ideal. We got overtaken on our best lap, and then the engine cut out as well. Not so nice, but we got a little bit of a slipstream again here on this max straight. Whole time in this session ended up being a 2:40.3, if my memory serves me correctly. In the first session, in the first qualifying, it was a 2:39.7, I think so. So yeah, we did remember in the first practice, I think at 2:49. But obviously that was only our first lap that we completed. So into the final chicane we go. We actually don't get blocked this time. The car ahead does a little bit. I think the car ahead is probably the fastest car on track, as my engine cut off again out of the final chicane. So we do 2:43.7. And yeah, on this lap, on this final lap, I think it was 2.5 seconds up on my lap time, and then it was a red flag. So that was a real shame because I was massively improving there. 2.5 seconds. We ended the qualifying in P11, but because I was faster than my teammate, we ended up going to race 1, and then we were starting P16, if I remember correctly. So not ideal, but we got some work to do. P16, we dropped 1 position to the car to the right, but then one car wasn't accelerating there, and we managed to overtake the McDonald's car right there as well. We go around the outside in turn 1. We got good momentum actually on the exit there. And another position gains for us there. We're going side by side up Rouge and Radion here. And we're going to get the move done. We're far enough ahead. Having a little lift. Again, this was kind of the first time I was hoping to get some consecutive laps in and get a real good feeling for the car. Of course, in qualifying we got some consecutive laps in, but we had the broken front splitter, so the balance is completely different now. And into the comp we go. Late on the brakes. A little bit careful with the curbs still. I'm gonna try and get a move done on the car ahead. There's a little incident up ahead. You can see a lot of smoke, which is why I'm lifting, because I couldn't really have a clear sight of what was going on. So another position gain there for us. I think up to P12 now. It's always a little bit hard to exactly know where you are on track, especially when you're a little bit further down in the midfield. Usually during safety car you can count the cars ahead a little bit, and then you know P11, P12, P13. As now there's a safety car deployed for some of the incidents. You see the car ahead and the steering of the track. He is damaged on the front left. I was thinking maybe he was going to box here at the end of this lap, because his car was not turning anymore at all there through Radion. That's not Radion, Pouon, sorry. But he stayed out. As you can see, car ahead, still out on track as the green flag waves. Leaving a little bit too much space to the car ahead, to be honest, but I was just being careful, trying not to get a penalty and just get some clean laps in without getting damaged or getting into incidents. And yeah, now start of lap 4, probably in around, we're in P12. I just counted it. We're into P12. So we've gained 4 positions from the start as the car ahead is completely understeering of the track. The track limits the whole weekend were really strict. If you went off, you definitely got a warning. I guess there's some kind of strike system in the race, but I didn't want to test it. We stayed well within track limits. So into Le Combe we go. And we should be able to try and get past the car ahead at some point in this middle sector, because his car is not turning too well. Probably damage to the suspension, damage to the front splitter, and yeah, even if it's just damage to the front splitter, it will really hurt the performance. As we saw in our qualifying, car wasn't turning well. I think his front left wheel is angling a little bit weird. You can see quite a bit of bodywork damage, and we're gonna try and get past here into Pouon. His little nose in, and he actually leaves the space nicely for us. I guess he knew that this was gonna be a long race with that damage on the front of the car. So up to P11 we go, and now we've got a bit of a gap to push into to the cars ahead. Now we kind of did expect some fighting here, because obviously cars are not super powerful. They're quite draggy because they're quite big, and that helps. It gives quite a bit of slipstream on those long straights. So if there's some fighting, then you know we can close up that gap. Still a little bit careful through here. You can see I'm leaving some margin out there, that's for sure. And yeah, now into Blanchimont. Let's see if we do it flat out yet. It will be flat out, or I will do it flat out at some point, but we're still lifting a little bit. So getting some more confidence in the car now. Yeah, I knew it was going to be flat eventually, but I just didn't want to spin or bin the car and be out of the race. Or yeah, we haven't got a lot of completed laps yet anyway, so I didn't want to kind of ruin that for myself and really just build it up, because our practice and qualifying was not too ideal. But we're getting some nice time to the car ahead. We're already faster than what we did in qualifying, 2:43.66. Now the track is a lot hotter again than in qualifying, so the lap times were in general a little bit slower. I think a second to 1.5 seconds. The leaders were slower than what they did in qualifying. So the fact we're going faster already shows that we've already made some decent improvement, and we had to overtake a car as well on this lap. So it'll be interesting to see what we can do. By the end of this race, the fast lap was at 2:41.0. So a nice bit of slipstream here actually in the first sector, reaching 2:18. As you can see me there, pump the brakes a little bit, because every time you hit a curb or a bump, the calipers would kind of distance. I'm not sure if I'm explaining it right, but if you pump the brakes a little bit, then the brake became more stiff. You had a better feeling through it. So you could brake a little bit later. It's not a huge difference, but you can definitely feel it. Down the hill, into the right-hander, still trying to find a way through. Actually, 2 cars ahead is starting to lose a little bit of slipstream there, and that could help us quite a lot. They're fighting into Pouon ahead, so that's going to cost them a lot of time, especially in a low-powered car. Every time you go side by side, you have to wait a little bit longer getting on the power, and then you just lose so much time compared to like an F1 car, for example. You got so much engine power, it will kind of take off on the corner exit anyway, and it shortens the straight time-wise, of course, so less time to be lost if you get a bad exit. And now there's a huge exit coming up, and as you can see, they're gonna try and go side by side into the right-hander, and that's gonna slow them down massively on this long back straight. Someone nearly nipped the gravel there. Some slide around a little bit. Now we got a good run on the white car ahead of us, and we can go down the inside here as well and gain another position, because the 77 car ahead of us, he is quite fast. I remember that from practice. But it doesn't matter, we're in traffic, so we're going to try and get past anyway into the bus stop. We're going to go around the outside, brake really late, go really deep, maybe get 2 moves on. I didn't really dare that yet. I was like, I'll wait another corner, and then maybe we can do something on Camel Straight, of course. With the help of Slipstream at 242.9. So let's see if we can just keep improving lap time wise. Out of our source, we're late on the brakes, a little bit of a moment on the exit. And now you can see actually 2 cars up ahead going side by side into a Rouge. And I was like, if they go side by side, they probably have to slow down a lot and making it a good run. So that's why I lifted a lot early on, so I wouldn't get stuck on this exit and actually get a huge run. The car had cut Radion completely there. We get 1 move done already before we even halfway down the straight, and we're gonna get another 2 due to the huge run we get on Camel Straight. And this moves us up to P6. This race from P16 on the grid, so this has been a really good race already. We made some good moves, played it careful, played it patient, and gained 10 positions. And the car ahead will get a penalty for that cutting the track, because obviously he gained a huge advantage, although I think without cutting he would have been fine as well. He would have overtaken them anyway, but yeah, the stewards don't really care too much about that. So now we need to try and move past the car ahead as soon as possible, because yeah, we spent quite a bit of time behind the safety car. The race is 25 minutes long, if my memory serves me correctly, and we're in lap 7. Yeah, as you can imagine, we're nearing the end of the race. 7 times 3 is 21 minutes. Now obviously the laps are not 3 minutes long, they're slightly shorter, but we've also spent a lap behind the safety car, where a lap time is probably 4.5 minutes or 5 minutes, because you're going so slow. And now we're gonna get a huge run, and we're actually doing nearly flat out, got a little bit of understeer there on the exit. And now we're gonna try and brake as late as possible into the bus stop to get the move done. Up to P5 we go. A little bit of a moment on the exit there, but we get the move done up to P5, and at 242.33 I have to go a little bit defensive there. But compared to everyone else, I felt like I was braking quite a bit later everywhere. Perhaps it was sacrificing the exit a little bit, perhaps not, I'm not sure. Yes, we can put in another personal best here. We need to try and break the toe through turn 1 and Rouge and Radion as well. Lifting a little bit through here, and then make sure we get a good exit up the hill. Yellow flag on the left for a car that has stranded there. Perhaps some kind of engine issue, I'm not sure. Earlier on in this race we did 218 top speed, now we're doing 211, 212, 213. So 5 kilometers less without slipstream. The car ahead has gone through the gravel, a little bit of battling going on there. And that is music to my ears. That was the last lap, by the way, so we're heading into the bus stop for the final time. I actually managed to extend the gap to the car behind quite a bit. I wasn't aware this was the last lap, by the way. But as we head through the bus stop, we finish our first race, starting P16. We come across the line in P5, and due to a penalty from the car ahead, we move up to P4, actually. We gained 12 positions, 11 on track, and yeah, really good race. Really enjoyed that. A lot of fun. And now race 3, race 2 for us. We're gonna be starting P6. It's the top 10 reversed. So we finished P4, now we're starting P6. But we got some really fast guys behind us. And some cars ahead of us that we finished ahead of yesterday. So P6 it is, due to the reverse grid. And it's lights out, and away we go. Into turn 1. Everyone's going into the inside, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna brake really deep around the outside into turn number 1. And we nearly made it into P2. I wasn't quite sure if I was gonna get left space there at the outside of turn 1. So decided to back out of that one. We've moved up to P4 already. Lifting early into Eau Rouge and Radion, because with this much slipstream and a little bit of dirty air, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do it flat out. As the car in P2 gets a snap on the exit of Radion, nearly losing it. And yeah, that's what I'm talking about. With the slipstream, you go faster into Eau Rouge and Radion. And then even a tiny bit of dirty air as well, of course. Not as much as in like a Formula car, but you still got dirty air. And that just makes the car a little bit more tricky. So, into the com we go. Cars ahead going side by side. And you know what? I'm going to set up the exit here. And maybe we can go for a move into the downhill right. Car ahead the fence. And we go around the outside, braking deep again into the right-hander. But we can't get a move done. It's just not enough grip there on the outside to really do something. Obviously we have to run more distance as well. So, P4 it is still. Really good opening lap already. But we got some fast cars behind us, let's not forget that. Car ahead going wide through Pouhon, and this gives us the chance to go down the inside and to lift a little bit to make sure not to run into the guy in P3. Yeah, yesterday our fastest lap was 1.3 seconds off. It's not too bad. Of course, we are the 30 kilos overweight. I have no idea how much lap time that costs, but it for sure wouldn't be helping us, being 30 kilos overweight. So yeah, P3 it is. We got some fast guys probably behind us. As the car ahead has gone off the track, spinning off, and that puts us up to P2, starting P6. Yeah, actually had some issues with shifting from 5th to 6th in the grade a few times. I think you will see that at some point here. And we nearly did Blanchimont flat. I think we had like a 5% lift through there. At that point, I don't think lifting 5% will even do something. But yeah, up to P2, really good start. And yeah, now their safety car deployed for the car that spun. And the exit of Stavlo 2, I think the name of that is. I'm not sure. You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I might be. Safety car restart now. Car ahead has gone quite early, but I don't mind too much having a little bit of a gap ahead of us. That means we can get a run on Camel Straight. Into the bus stop we go. A little bit hard to pick your braking point because you're not on your usual speed. This car ahead really focused on the exit. Now, that's the number 76 car ahead of us. That team is called VPS. You can notice them by the blue collar. They were really fast the whole weekend. I think they got all the pole positions and probably a 1-2-3 finish in the last race. I'm not sure. But yeah, they were just way stronger than everyone else. So hats off to them. They actually had, if my memory serves me correct, Victor Martins as the driver coach. As you can see, he's struggling to shift into 6th gear, which is no ideal because it ruined our run a little bit into Eau Rouge and Radion and costed us some momentum. But you can still see the huge run we get into La Com, and yeah, we're gaining so much here into La Com. We go around the outside. Let's see if we can get the move done. We brake as late as we can. Car on the inside brakes even later though. Goes wide, but unfortunately we get hit from behind. And yeah, I thought maybe we could keep the move going. Car ahead went a little bit wide in the apex there, and at least we would have been closer. And perhaps gotten another chance on the next lap, but now the gap is quite big, and not gonna lie, the car ahead probably is a little bit faster. Again, these guys ahead from VPS, I'm quite sure the name of the team was, they were just so fast the whole weekend, so yeah, it's gonna be tough. We're pushing like hell in the middle sector here to try and close the gap, but yeah, the car ahead might be a little bit too far ahead now for us to get a good slipstream and really close the gap again. So yeah, we will see. Again, really pushing here. You can see having to correct the car a little bit. The rear wants to slide away, and because I'm pushing a little bit too hard, perhaps went a little bit wide there. No, I think that might be on the next lap. Yeah, really trying to push, but I think the gap is just a little bit too big now. Of course, due to the little incident we had into Le Combe, and the car had, I think, pulled away a little bit as well in the middle sector. So yeah, not ideal, but we gotta keep pushing and try and close the gap to the car ahead. And now we finally the blind shimmer completely filled out. Really easy. It was to do. Braking late into the next right-hander. We got a car on our inside, trying to get past us. And yeah, down to P3 we go. Now, to try and re-overtake him perhaps on the next straight. That would be ideal. Into turn 1 we go. Because we're braking really late, closing the gap to the car ahead. And we actually got a good exit as well through there. We brake late and then also kind of managed the exit, you know. We didn't lose anything extra on the exit, so you can see me lifting really early here to make sure we can do a Rouge and Radion flat out. It's a little lift to make sure we don't get any track limits, but otherwise we might get the penalty if we overtake the car ahead, of course. So making sure I stay within, and now we move back up to P2, and actually it looks a little bit like we're closer now to the car ahead. So I was really hoping, you know, maybe we can close in the gap a little bit through the middle sector. Maybe he makes a little mistake somewhere. But yeah, again, these guys from VPS, they were really fast the whole weekend. So that's quite unlikely. And now into Stavolo we go, I think so. And a little moment there on the apex, on the exit. It's not the end of the world. We just had to delay or throttle, initial throttle input a little bit because I sent it in too hard. I was still really trying to catch the car ahead. And now we're just going to get past here as my car is not upshifting to 6th gear as well. I've got a car on my outside here, and again, it was one of the guys from VPS. And yeah, they were just fast. The whole middle sector, he was on my ass. I was like, yeah, if we want to have a chance of winning this race, then we cannot fight this too hard because we might lose extra positions. And we kind of need to close the gap to P1 for us to have a chance at the win. And perhaps we can re-overtake the cars ahead as well. I was thinking 242.2, that's our fastest lap of the weekend so far, even though we got overtaken. So, yeah. Down to P4 we go again. We're losing a little bit on the exit there. Looks like we're a little bit down speed at the exit. I think it's not too bad, but again, we're also carrying the 30 kilos extra. Or 25 kilos if the cars ahead are having some margin. So yeah, let's see if we can stay with the cars ahead, and cars ahead actually fighting, so that helps us to stay close. Although I think they didn't lose too much time with that one. They're not going side by side throughout the corner, but unfortunately we just couldn't keep up. We did a personal best of a 241.6. Yeah, they just kept creeping away slowly by around a second per lap. Maybe a little bit more as we get hit from behind again into the final corner. But we managed to keep the position, and we're going to bring it home in P4. It's our first race around Spa in 8 years. And I'm not going to lie, I really enjoy driving these cars. Probably favorite car I've raced IRL in my life. Just because the handling was so nice. The racing was really good. You know, if there's a little bit of contact, there's not straight away race ending damage. Yeah, the handling was really nice as well. I just really enjoyed it. And yeah, I just want to say a huge thank you to Keanu for inviting me. Make sure to check him out on Instagram as well. Keanu Litaut. My French is not too great, so I will link his Instagram in the description. Big thank you to Keanu for inviting me, and a big thank you for Midjet International for inviting me as well. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, because I certainly did. Make sure to like and subscribe for perhaps more in real life racing content. I got my license again now, so I'm legally allowed to race again in race cars. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time. Ciao.